Time feels different now. I used to think I had plenty of it, an unlimited amount of time to live life the way I wanted. I don't know why I thought that, but that was me in my 20s. Life felt open-ended, like I could always get to things later. Then my 30s and 40s went by faster than I expected. My 50s went by even faster. Honestly, like a bullet train. I remember thinking, how did I get here already? Now, in my 60s, time feels like it's running ahead of me, faster than the years behind. Time outpaced me a long time ago, and no matter how much I try, I can't seem to catch up. Every so often, that realization brings on small episodes of anxiety. They can last hours, sometimes days. Nothing dramatic, just a quiet, persistent feeling in the background. When that happens, I try to bring myself back to today. The present moment, right now. Paying attention to what's actually in front of me helps. It doesn't slow time, but it steadies me. And once I started doing that, I noticed something else. The noise began to fade. When you're younger, life is loud. Not just busy, but mentally loud. You're surrounded by expectations about success, about image, about how a life is supposed to look. You absorb them without realizing it. You start measuring yourself by things that are easy to explain to others, but hard to live with privately. For a long time, I felt like there was an audience watching my life. Co-workers, neighbors, old acquaintances, people who didn't really know me, but somehow felt important at the time. I worried about how my choices looked from the outside, even when they didn't feel right on the inside. There were moments I stayed quiet just to avoid discomfort. Times I said yes when I wanted to say no. Times I explained myself when no explanation was owed, not because anyone demanded it, but because I thought they might. Later in life, you realize how much of that pressure was imagined. The audience wasn't paying attention. Most people were too busy managing their own worries, and the few who truly mattered never needed you to perform in the first place. That realization alone lifts a surprising amount of weight. Another thing that changes is how you understand worth. When you're younger, worth is tied to output, to productivity, to staying useful. Rest feels earned, not allowed. Slowing down feels irresponsible. With time, that belief starts to loosen. You begin to see that being present, being decent, being steady matters more than constant motion. You stop measuring your value by how much you produce and start noticing how you show up. Perfection falls away too. For years, I treated life like something that needed to be completed before it could be enjoyed, as if happiness would arrive once everything was fixed, organized, and resolved. So I postponed things. Relaxation came later. Enjoyment came later. Peace came later. But later kept moving, and life kept happening anyway. Eventually, it becomes clear that life is never finished. There's always something unresolved, something imperfect, and waiting for everything to line up is a quiet way of missing your own days. The moments that stay with me now aren't the polished ones. They're the ordinary ones, the conversations that didn't go perfectly, the days that felt simple but honest. The mess wasn't in the way of life. It was life. Work once felt central to everything. Titles mattered, progress mattered, recognition mattered. I measured myself by where I stood and how I was seen. Now, work feels different. Still important, but smaller. Careers don't disappear, but they shrink into context. What lasts isn't the role you held. It's how you carried yourself while you were there. Whether you treated people well, whether you kept your integrity when no one was watching. I've known people with impressive achievements who never seemed at ease, and others with modest careers who carried a quiet sense of peace. The difference wasn't success, it was alignment. Mistakes used to follow me around. I replayed them, judged myself for not knowing then what I know now. Over time, that judgment softened. You realize no one else is holding on to your failures. Everyone is too busy remembering their own. Those mistakes weren't verdicts. They were lessons. They were the cost of learning how to live. Forgiving your younger self stops feeling like weakness and starts feeling like honesty. You couldn't have known without living it first. The future changes shape as well. I used to believe that planning and worrying could protect me, that if I stayed ahead of things, I could avoid pain. But the most important moments of my life, the best and the hardest, were never planned. They arrived without warning. Over time, the need for certainty gave way to something quieter. Curiosity, presence, a willingness to meet life as it comes. The future stopped demanding so much of my attention. Possessions lose their grip too. The things we accumulate start to feel heavier, not because they're wrong, but because they ask for maintenance, attention, and energy. You see clearly that objects don't add time to your life. What mattered was never the upgrade or the brand. It was the experience. A house is just a place where life happens. A car is just a way to reach someone you care about. When things stop serving people, they become clutter. Letting go creates room. Letting go didn't happen all at once. It happened in small, ordinary decisions. Saying no without explaining. Not correcting people when it didn't matter. Leaving things unfinished and realizing the world didn't collapse. Allowing days to be quieter than I once thought they needed to be. At first, that space felt uncomfortable, almost empty. I had spent so long filling my life with motion, obligation, and noise that stillness felt unfamiliar. But over time, that emptiness softened. It stopped feeling like loss and started feeling like relief. That's when I understood something important. Lightness doesn't come from adding better things. It comes from removing what was never essential. My world is smaller now, but it's deeper. Quieter, but more honest. I care less about appearances and more about alignment. Less about accumulation and more about intention. And something surprising happened when I stopped carrying so much that didn't matter. I became lighter, not because life got easier, but because I stopped weighing it down with expectations that were never meant to last. If there's one question worth asking, it's this: will this matter to me later? If the answer is no, maybe it doesn't need your energy today. Save that for love, for laughter, for the quiet beauty of being alive. Thank you for spending this time with me. I know how valuable time is now, and I don't take that lightly. Sharing this moment together matters more to me than views or numbers ever could. If something in this helped you loosen your grip, even just a little, I'm truly grateful. And if you feel like sharing, tell me in the comments. What's one thing you're ready to stop carrying?